Welcome to the 2020 On-Farm Network Results Series. I'm Megan Burns, the agronomist for the On-Farm Network. Let's talk about our dry bean fertility trials. Dry bean nitrogen fertility trials are designed to investigate the agronomic and economic outcomes of different N fertilizer management strategies, focused specifically on rate. Currently, we assess the effect of nodulation, obviously yield, and this year we started to investigate the effect on residual soil nitrate in the fall as well. So this 2020 growing season, we had two dry bean nitrogen trials, one investigating 40, 70, and 100 pounds of nitrogen per acre applied as urea in black beans. So that was in Western Manitoba. And we had another one investigating 35, 70, and 105 pounds of nitrogen per acre, also as urea in pinto beans. That trial, which was located in Central Manitoba, also included zero nitrogen check strips as well. So the first thing that we really examine in nitrogen fertility trials is our nodule assessment. So we rate nodules in dry beans based on three things. So how does the plant look? What's its growth and vigor like? How many nodules are there? And where are those nodules located? So how are they distributed on the root mass? The focus for a nitrogen fertility trial is definitely how many nodules are present. So something like the distribution of nodules on the root mass is a lot more critical for something like an inoculant trial, where we want to know, whether there's more nodulation at the crown or more nodulation on the lateral roots, which is likely from rhizobia that's already present in the soil. So that's not really a big factor for something like a nitrogen fertility trial, where we're a lot more focused on nodule number. So in terms of how those nodulation ratings played out for these two trials, the pinto bean trial in Central Manitoba showed a trend of declining nodulation with increasing N fertilizer rate, which is what we would expect to see. So this is what we would expect to see in something like soybean, where if we have even just higher inherent nitrogen fertility in our soil, we would expect to see a potential reduction in nodule number, depending on the exact nitrate levels in the soil. So that kind of followed an expected trend. At the second trial, the black bean trial in Western Manitoba, overall, there was just generally poor nodulation at this site, and there wasn't really any sort of trend with a nitrogen fertilizer rate. So poor nodulation overall isn't necessarily a big concern for dry bean production if you're fertilizing accordingly and providing enough nitrogen to meet the needs for yield. So let's see how the yield results played out. So for the first trial, the pinto bean trial, there was actually a decline in yield with an increase in nitrogen rate. So the 105 pound of nitrogen per acre treatment significantly reduced yield compared to the 0 and 35 pound N per acre treatments. So obviously then the increased cost of N fertilizer did not pay in this trial. It wasn't economic. This significant reduction in yield wasn't anticipated, so this isn't a result that we were expecting. Our best theory right now is that the higher N rate just pushed vegetative growth a little bit too far, and there wasn't enough time left in the growing season to then maximize seed fill as a result of that. So the second trial, the black bean trial, there wasn't a significant yield difference between the N fertilizer treatments at this site. So because there wasn't an increase in yield to offset the increased cost of nitrogen fertilizer at a higher rate, obviously there was a bit of an economic loss for those treatments, and those higher rates didn't pay. In terms of fall soil N, so we've been doing dry bean nitrogen trials for 2 years now. This year is the first year that we started collecting fall soil samples from each of the treatments. I think that we need more dry bean nitrogen trials with this fall soil N sampling to determine kind of what the pattern is, what the relationship is between the yield trend, and the nitrogen fertilizer rate treatment. So that's something that will come to light, I think, as we have more dry bean nitrogen trials going forward. So what's next for dry bean N trials? I think we really need to reassess how much nitrogen dry bean production requires. So the message from these trials seems to be that the optimum N rate might be less than we think that it is. The results also lead to questions about the importance of nodulation in dry bean production, its contribution to dry bean N nutrition, and does it perhaps play more of a role than we've historically given it credit for? And then ultimately determining what the optimum N rate is and how that changes with different growing season conditions in different regions with different bean types, etc. So I think we certainly have some more work to do. It comes down to needing more trials in more years. So we'll look to continue with these N fertility trials, certainly with farmers who are interested in testing out different N rate strategies for their dry bean production. A big thank you to all of our On-Farm Network participants. If you are interested in learning more, getting involved, or if you have a trial idea, feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you.